to be said that Meghan Markle is nothing but persistent. I know. But when you think about it, and you have to study her hard, of course, there is a lady, whichever you want to call her, is a woman who's really pushed forward and managed to make something of her life. Now, she didn't come from such an impoverished background, of course, but that's the sort of story she likes to tell. You know, the washing up ad story, the seat at the table, the activist, all of that sort of stuff. She's been incredibly clever, a really wonderful manipulator, and more importantly, a lot harder working than people to give her credit for, simply because she's used agents, managers, all of that sort of stuff to get where she wants along the way. And of course, when you get there, suddenly you don't want these people because they're a reminder of your past. But as ever with Meghan, she has a forthcoming plan, and here it is. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London today. Nice to see you. I hope you're all keeping well. Thank you, by the way, for all your kind comments about on this day. I love what this one lady wrote. She said, Neil, the sad thing is, I know everything on that list. You're making me feel old. I know. I feel like that when I'm making them, you know. You sort of think, how many years ago is that? And when we got to Vanessa Williams, I thought, well, she's not that old, you know. And I thought, really? Was that 1984? Is it really 15 years since Ugly Betty? You know, where does the time go? I think our memory plays tricks on us, don't you? Because I think if something we've enjoyed, or a song or a film or a memory, it gets locked in that time and then we don't really move forward. Of course, when we look at it again, we're sort of thinking, oh, really? It is a long time. One thing that somebody said to me as well, it's so strange, isn't it? When we look at pictures of people, one of our favourite stars or actors or singers, and we say, goodness, they've got to look old. You never think of yourself in that bracket, do you? Have you noticed? You sort of look and go, yeah, they're not aging well. Then you think, here's a mirror. See what you look like. Back as ever though to your breaking balls story of the day. Serious story this, because basically it centres all around King Charles III and of course the very difficult thorn in his side, which is Meghan Markle, who seemingly, as we now know over the last 2 years, refuses to shut up at any point, you know. Recent interviews have basically said that you know, King Charles III, well, Harry's lost his father like she did. No, you know, your father's living down the road, love. You just can't be bothered to see him for whatever reasons. It's interesting, isn't it, you know, the way they repaint themselves as a victim. I do feel sorry for Thomas Markle in many respects, because here is a man who clearly tried his best for his daughter, possibly too much, you know, gave into everything. And I think when you watch those early videos that are now on YouTube, you can see the petulance there, you know, the I need, I want. And I'm not being unkind, you can see it in children from a very early age. Now, this is the problem that's really factored and dogged Meghan Markle all of her life. Until now, she's really hit the jackpot, of course, marrying Prince Harry. And if you recall, only last month she was saying, well, he was lucky to marry her. I'm sure he was. She's a very beautiful girl and very clever in many respects. I'll just leave that there. But I think what's interesting now is, according to a very good source, and as ever, allegedly, she'd now like, before they return back to California, to have a one-to-one audience with King Charles III. That's right, Meghan one-to-one with King Charles III. You heard correct. And what's interesting here is, according to that good source, this was made in a formal letter. This is how you write to the king, through his equerry, and then of course that's passed on, etc. Now, you know, you have to admire Meghan's self-belief, whatever you think. Basically, according to this letter, she feels it would be an opportunity to clear the air, put the rights from wrongs, and explain some of the rationale behind what they've been doing over the last 2 years. Truthfully, we have no idea if this is going to go forward. As ever, as I know I often say here on the show, when I find out more, you'll know more. But I think, as I say, it's a very brave move, isn't it, for Meghan herself? Because basically what she's saying is, look, I'm the leader in this relationship. If you want to sit down and chat to me, I'm open to that. Perhaps I can explain to you what's been going on and why we did it, and, you know, give both sides. And also, when you think about it, Prince Harry's very, very hot-headed, as we've said before here on the show. So for him to sit down with his father might result in sort of, you know, unsaid words and things they don't want to discuss. So it is interesting. But, you know, if Meghan is granted that audience, truly, you know, would she be happy with what the outcome could be? I truly believe that Prince Charles has stated his, you know, thoughts, if you like, on that address to the nation, his very first address as king. And so I think for Meghan, this is another grasp at the final straw, as it were. Basically, you know, let's get together and see what we can thrash out. There is nothing to thrash out, really. You trashed him on television across the world. But as ever, in Meghan's world, that's a totally different narrative. As I say, when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.